Hello and welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Designed for Leaving, and with me today are two salesmen that I can't seem to get rid of, my good friends Matt Hunter and Essie MacPeter. Say hi, guys.
Hey.
Don't ever push that dislike button.
Yes. I only hit the like button, okay? But just a few bits of info to get underway. So as mentioned, this is Designed for Leaving, released on the 27th of March 1954. They Blue Ribbon reissue sometime in 1962. It's the 707th in the series, and it's directed by Bob McKimson. This short is on physical media, but sadly, it's cropped. So it's on the Looney Tunes Superstars Daffy Duck DVD set. I mean, if you have to have it and cropped, I'll still have the link below. It is out there in HD, uncropped, and hopefully that'll make its way on disc at some point. So, an absolute shame.
Yeah, it is or was at one point on Max on the streaming service. And it's also shown up a couple of times on MeTV and MeTV Tunes. So we know it's restored and out there full screen. And the thing about some of those Superstars discs, they had cropped cartoons because there was a version of some Warner Brothers cartoons released for widescreen, because widescreen was a craze in the early 50s. Somebody at the Warner Brothers thought, well, we should put them on DVD this way, I guess because TVs were going widescreen or something, and nobody liked that because you have the screen information. Give us the whole cartoon. Don't crop it.
Yeah.
And they thankfully stopped doing that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You should make it available both ways, but after the shutdown, they were all being made to work in some form, crop, but not completely, not to the degree that the Superstar set did, but man, they should have just made it available both ways, as you said.
Yeah, totally agree. But hopefully they'll correct that mistake soon. But you won't find the full cartoon here on YouTube. It is a copyrighted short. It'll just get blocked if I try and do that. So in case you haven't seen this one, Daffy's once again a salesman, and this time he's talking on behalf of Acme for their Home of Tomorrow products, and, well, he ends up redoing Elmer's entire home, and now he's got all these House of Tomorrow products, which we'll go through as we go through the short itself. And this one, I will say, is definitely a hidden gem of a short, and we'll definitely go through why shortly. But first up, a few bits of trivia though. The title itself is based off of the play Designed for Living, and that in turn was adapted into a 1933 film starring Gary Cooper. Has it got anything to do with the short itself? No, but that's where it comes from. And sure enough, if this looks familiar to you, Daffy as a salesman, you've probably seen shorts like Daffy Dilly, the Super Salesman, full coverage. It's just one of those ideas that works. Daffy Duck as an obnoxious salesman. It's amazing.
Yeah. The first one was Along Came Daffy that Freeling did, where Daffy shows up. How he gets there, we don't know, but in a cabin in the frozen tundra somewhere. And he shows up to sell cookbooks to two starving brothers, one of whom is Yosemite Sam. And I guess they got the idea. They thought, hey, Daffy is a salesman. That's really funny. And then they just did a whole bunch of them. Like Art Davis did the Super Salesman, and then Jones did Daffy Dilly. McKimson did this one. McKimson did one called The High and the Flighty, where he tries to sell novelty gags to Foghorn Leghorn and the Barnyard Dog. So it was a whole trope that they did with Daffy as a salesman. It worked really, really well.
Yeah, they picked up on Daffy being obnoxious as his key personality really quickly. Freeling had done a precursor, Yankee Doodle Daffy, where Daffy is this talent agent, but really is selling himself.
Yeah, that's right. I guess you could consider him a salesman there, really. He's trying to sell this kid who ends up literally choking when he finally gets to give his performance. And it's like,
my heart.
Yeah.
Let springtime blossoms bloom again in the garden. My heart.
Yeah, and you just certainly don't expect the voice that coming out from that little kid as well. It was a great little topper at that end. Yeah. I can't wait to revisit that one for an upcoming review for sure. But one interesting thing, though, people watching this short might be questioning why they used Elmer instead of Porky, which, let's face it, Porky could have easily been in Elmer's role here. And that's not to say it's a bad thing. I think Elmer in this role is really good too. But you guys seem to have a theory as to why that's the case.
Yeah, I think it was probably because, number one, they probably had enough Porky Pig cartoons at the time, maybe for that release season. And they thought, well, we need more Elmer. And they were just like, okay, let's just swap Porky for Elmer. And also the lead animator on this cartoon is a guy named Phil DeLara. And he worked on the stories in the Dell Western comic books at the time that were for the Looney Tunes comics, where Daffy was paired with Elmer Fudd. And he was the lead artist on those. And this is pretty much just like one of those stories.
Mm-hmm.
It plays out exactly like one. And I think he probably had a real hand in this cartoon. His style is all over it.
Yeah, and a few months later, or later in the year, would come Quackshot, which gives actual writing credit to Phil DeLars. And that one is, again, Daffy and Elmer, so evidently there was a real case for doing them, especially for Phil DeLara. And I would assume Porky not being in these cartoons may also oblige to him being on TV, so they may have wanted to disassociate him since they removed the Warner's credit on all those cartoons.
Could be. I mean, they continued doing Porky in the 50s, but
he doesn't appear for a few years around this time, if I recall. Well, he isn't a big star, at least.
I think they were bored with him.
They no longer needed to make Porky. He could have just been a sidekick if they needed to make one. I think the only one this year he's in is the one with Sylvester.
Yeah, that's the only one, I think. And last year, 1953, he was only in Duck Dodgers. Just that one. Yeah, so there you are. So they're definitely using him less and less as we go along, which is a shame. And Porky's a nice character, but yeah.
Elmer works just fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Now, first of all, I want to mention that, this is one of my go-to, I guess, hidden gems. This is one of those shorts where, unlike, say, the one I mentioned before, Duck Dodgers and those really well-known shorts, this is one of those ones where you watch and it's a nice, pleasant little surprise. I quite like these more down-to-earth, just simple shorts, especially these McKimson ones. A nice hidden gem, I'd say.
Yeah. If you want to go simple, just look at the opening. It starts immediately getting into what's going to happen. Just Daffy invades Elmer's home. He sends him away while he basically reconstructs his entire home with his Salesman products. And then he comes back and we see all the products as like a catalog.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, okay, Elmer did not exactly give him permission to do this either. I mean, Elmer is well within his rights to file a lawsuit.
Right, and in case anyone was wondering, because Daffy, I mean, of course, voiced by Mel Blanc, but Mel Blanc does that beautiful salesman shtick that they would do in that they would talk so fast and brush over so many details, and the best salesman can make you sign up to anything. They would make someone in the desert buy a heater, like a subscription to heating products or something. That's how good that they are, because they just talk over people on and when not giving them a chance. He was working for, it's the Acme Futurantic Push-Button Home of Tomorrow Household Appliance Company Incorporated.
Mr. Fudd?
Yes?
Congratulations, Mr. Fudd. You're a fortunate man. I represent the Acme Futurantic Push-Button Home of Tomorrow Household Appliance Company Incorporated. My company has authorized me to install in your home with absolutely no cost to you for 10 days free trial a complete line of ultra-modern automatic household appliances. Now you just trot right on down to your office and leave the rest to us.
All right, so if anyone needs to know what the company is, because Daffy talks so fast, that's your company right there, okay? But try saying that fast 10 times.
Push-button was a big term around this time because push-button kitty, it was sort of a term for like modern gadgets.
Yeah, it really started with the World's Fairs, like in the 1930s, House of the Future and all that kind of stuff. Chuck Jones did one, or did a couple of them, actually. He did one with his little curious puppy characters that focused on an automated house with a robot maid and a robotic music box, among other things, robotic dishwasher. And they followed it up with a few years later with Hubie and Bertie, called House Hunting Mice, where they go into an automated home. And then, of course, Tex Avery at MGM, right around this same time, had a whole series, Something of Tomorrow. There was House of Tomorrow and Farm of Tomorrow, and I think it was TV of Tomorrow and Cars of Tomorrow. So this was kind of a cartoon trope at the time.
It really began with that Chicago World's Fair in 1933, and then when the war began winding down, World War II, the World of Tomorrow, that sort of became a trend. So it became relevant again, which would explain why the Hubie and Bertie and the Avery of Tomorrow's title started, because Tex planned the initial The House of Tomorrow in 1945, but he scrapped it and revived it years later.
And Disney did one, too. Disney did one with Donald Duck at a World's Fair.
Modern Inventions.
Modern Inventions, yeah. He tries out like a massage chair and he gets all pissed off.
One other thing as well about that is that we're talking about the mid-50s at this point, and since World War II, the middle class started to really grow, especially in the United States, and people were able to now afford appliances, so proper dishwashers, proper fridges, and just television sets, that sort of thing. So the idea of a futuristic home, this is just the next step where everything becomes even more automated than what the automation that they're currently used to at the time, which again, push button laundry machines and so on, and dryers, things for every woman in the home, that kind of thing, right? But with this short continuing on, I just like how, Elmer's late for work, which, we've all been there, right? We've all been really late, and it seems like every time you're late for work, something always interrupts you to make you even more late, and it's either an important phone call or whatever, right? Or you misplace your keys and that sort of thing. So I liked how this plays up on that.
We've all been there.
And the first bit where Daffy just pushes Elmer onto the bus, I mean, I cracked it because I hadn't seen this for a little while, and it's like, but I have a car.
I have my own car.
Just
Don't stop to thank me now, Mr. Fudd. Here's your bus. See you later.
But I have my own car.
I mean, that killed me. And the thing is, you got that topper, right? So you got 3 gags done so quickly there. 1, of course, Daffy pushing Elmer onto the bus. 2, you've got him yelling, but I have my own car. But then you got 3, it's the Duluth Express, which...
It's going somewhere else completely.
Yeah, but where's Elmer's home located then? I mean, Duluth, I kind of know where it is.
That's in Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay, that's where it is. All right. I was like, kind of know where it is, kind of, sort of. So where does he live?
Not there.
Yeah.
Not Duluth.
Midwestern USA, suburbia, I guess.
I love, again, the touch that Elmer doesn't even know the bus route, so he has to hitchhike back home.
Yes. Now, there's one shot in here that is unintentionally funny, and I wonder if you guys picked up on it, because I watched it now and I just realized that I absolutely cracked it. But is that truck that dumps everything in, is that truck really small, or is that door really big? Like, the scale is completely off. Did you guys notice that?
No, but what? Yeah, okay, yeah, I do now.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it again. Daffy must have repaired the fence right after they left.
Yeah, so the whole thing is just so unintentionally stupid where, like, hang on, how big is this door? Because a truck like that would be so big, right? So the door would have to be really massive, or, it's just...
Yeah. Because the next shot, it's like, okay, there's a white picket fence. How did they get that truck down that sidewalk? Okay.
I mean, not that it makes a big deal, but it just makes it even more, like, unintentionally funny, just that really weird shot. I just thought, wow, okay. It must be a really small truck or something, but anyway.
And also, what side does Elmer's door open on? It switches.
Yeah. Well, cartoon logic, but anyway, and the next shot, of course, is Elmer making his way back home with a friendly stranger from the Duluth Van and Storage Company, because they're all friendly down in Duluth. I mean, if you guys watch this reviewer from Duluth, let me know if everyone's friendly in Duluth, okay? Because we'll see if this cartoon's accurate in that regard. Now, of course, what music cue do we hear when Elmer comes home? Come on, take a wild guess.
Ooh, am I ever furious?
Come in, Mr. Fudd.
You!
Welcome, Mr. Fudd, to your new futuristic push-button home. Remember?
Home sweet home.
Of course. What else is the Costelli going to play in this one, right? What else is he going to do?
Home on the range, it's too far north, apparently.
Yeah, there's that too. But he enters, Daffy's still there. I wonder how long all of this installation took, and I wonder how long... Anyway, whatever, cartoon logic, right? But anyway, Daffy's there. But I like how they start off with an actual device that works, because it sets it up nicely. It's the hat and coat robot. It works. It's like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
All right.
All these gadgets. Hey! What is this?
Isn't that something?
It's a good way to start. And we see Elmer then being pointed to a nice, relaxing chair, and that beautiful expression of Elmer looking all relaxed. So peaceful, right?
I love how, I guess, sort of static they look, because when Elmer relaxes his eyes, he looks kind of ugly there.
Yeah. I don't know. I've got a thing for McKimson's Elmer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just something about it just looks so off, and it looks so funny. I love it.
And this scene has some great, unmistakable Rod Scribner stuff in here, too, where Daffy's talking to him after he gets mangled by the massage chair. There's this scene, pause it. We're right before Daffy's going to push another button, which I think is supposed to light a cigar for him. It's just like this kind of look he gives Elmer. Elmer's got the baggy, kind of half unconscious eyes, and Daffy's got this kind of sly look at him.
Yeah.
It's great.
We're starting to get a little into the limited look. I guess McKimson's budgets were already being closed in a bit more before the closure. But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Rod Scribner makes great use of every drawing he can do.
Yeah.
The secondary action, is all great.
He even makes the McKimson squint that people talk about. He even makes that look funny. I'm just looking at the picture of Daffy just about to light Elmer's cigar. He pushes that little button that pulls out a little hand that has a match. It's like the cigar. As Daffy's doing it, you just look at the way they look at each other. It's subtle, but if you watch it in slow-mo, it's like, oh my God, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and I just love how everything just has to be literal with the automation, because if you look at it, just a standard washing machine, even at the time, no long extended robotic arms or anything. It's a functional device, and yet everything here that's automated is just completely ridiculously over-exaggerated. Case in point, the cigar's lit up, and of course, instead of having a fire extinguisher, which would be like in an office building, like a sprinkler system or something, which is common sense, no, it's a robot that has a fire helmet.
Fire helmet on.
You know,
Yeah, the same kind of robot you see in those earlier Chuck Jones cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that scene and I never picked us before, but Daffy, after seeing it fail, the expression is so hysterical. I never caught on to his shocked face at the machine going berserk.
Yeah.
And you think it sets up a rule of 3, but doesn't quite. I think it's a rule of 2 in this one, and it's a shame that they couldn't work in a third gag with this fire extinguishing robot, or maybe they had an idea
they don't have
and
to.
And it was cut for time, which is the right decision. I don't think they could have added a third one, but you would think they would have. But anyway,
Doesn't
yeah,
matter.
exactly. So the next bit is that they go to the kitchen, which is another modern-looking kitchen. Not quite as modern-looking as the one you see in Wild Wife. I actually wanted to see if they reused the backgrounds because it looked very similar, but no, they're different, okay? But I love Elmer's puzzling expression when the knife sharpener is being shown off, and it's makes it too sharp, too pointy, right?
Yep.
And just Elmer's quizzical expression. Just, again, I love the McKimson Elmer. I don't know, something about him just looks hilarious in that shot. And we get a precursor, I guess, to the Flintstones in a way, because you've got the garbage disposal unit underneath the sink. And what is it?
Does a trick all right.
And it's so simple. Only has one working part. Regard as...
It's a pig. It's a pig.
They used that gag before. I know there's similar gags to it at least.
Yeah.
It only has one working part and it's a human.
And then you have to wonder, just, the logic of all of that. Like, okay, so they got a pig under there. What? You got to, anyway, I'm not going to get too deeply into it, but as long as you guys can figure out what I'm about to talk about in regards to the pig, like having one of those underneath, living animal. But anyway, imagine being hungover one night, you're coming home and you got this pig under the sink and he's just making a squealing noise or something. Just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. So, next shot, we're now see the switch wall, which... This is the automated thing you would expect, buttons, right? And Daffy demonstrates a button, right? It's like, okay, just suppose you're a housewife. You see how Elmer gets so offended that he was like a housewife? He's like, I'm not a housewife.
Now, suppose you're a housewife.
But I'm not a housewife.
Just for the sake of argument.
Suppose you are.
I guess he really doesn't like being made as like a lonely heart.
Yes.
Well, it's already been expressed before, at least it was shortly after, that he's a millionaire. He owns a mansion and a yacht. And this isn't really a mansion, but it's a nice house. He's got nice things. He's got this fancy painting that's about to get scrubbed.
Yes, yes. And this is such a great gag because, look, you can sort of figure what was going to happen with cleaning the walls, that the robot's going to go a bit too far to the point where Napoleon's underpants are shown, basically.
Since when did Napoleon have a Yosemite Sam mustache?
Yeah.
But
I'm just calling Napoleon because I think that's what they were trying to showcase there. But yeah, you're right.
Right.
Maybe that's an idea for future short that Freeze saw or something. I don't know. But anyway.
Well, he did. He did Napoleon Bunny part. He did one with Napoleon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then Davy's like, whoops, sorry. He acknowledges that there was a stuff up. I just have to adjust it further. And what happens? My wall.
My walls, they're woolen.
Oh, my walls are ruined.
I love Arthur Q. Bryant's performance in this one. He does a great job bringing life to it.
Yeah.
Really
excellent.
I love how Elmer is constantly drawn, like knowing that he's being swindled and having his house destroyed, but he's just not going to speak up and get it to stop.
Yeah.
But I like how the next gag, every time I see this short, I kind of don't expect it. That's how good this gag is. It's like, okay, are you tired of looking at your dirty windows? Well, I guess that's one way to solve the dirty window problem, right? Just
brick them over.
break them over. I mean, hopefully the switch wall will have a switch for dirty bricks, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess. But anyway.
Just gotta adjust the machine again.
Exactly.
30 windows anymore.
Oh, I'm so angry, I'm burning up.
I tried to warn you.
100%. And yeah, Elmer's head just sizzles from anger, and we get the nice little topper of that wonderful fire extinguisher robot again. Just, yeah.
And Daffy's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. And Elmer's now like, okay, you know what? Every time you push a button, something bad happens, I'm going to now push a button. And he picks the burglar alarm, and it's the similar dog from one of the Tom and Jerry shorts, right?
Button.
All right. I think I'll push this wet one.
No, not the wet one. Don't ever push the wet one.
Well, I'll push this one then. Ouch!
Right. And then, of course, there was an early Jetsons episode, probably about, 10 years after this was made, that involved a robotic dog.
Yes. And sure enough, okay, so Elmer, they now go to, I'm assuming it's his bedroom or a powder room, or I don't know what sort of room that is, where you see all these things about tying a knot. And some of those are actually real, but I'm sure you can guess which ones are not. I mean, of course, Windsor's real, but anyway. Windsor Schminzer.
Which ones are not? Which ones are
not? But this gag, I would imagine, would have been cut on TV, and Matt, you might confirm or deny this, but that whole thing hanging, yeah.
It was. There's a gag where he pushes a button that says Alcatraz Ascot, which is hangman's noose. And, of course, Alcatraz was a famous prison off the coast of San Francisco, California, actually. And it was an island where really bad people went. And so the people being hanged, that probably wasn't a very good thing to put on TV.
Elmer almost ended up there.
Yeah, well, I may be a squee wabbit, but I'm not going to Alcatraz.
Yes. And there's even a movie called Escape from Alcatraz, which I highly recommend people watch. It's a great movie as well. Mm-hmm. And I did go down the rabbit hole a little bit because I was curious whether still, as part of capital punishment, hanging people by this point in the mid-50s before doing the lethal injection, the electric chair, and so on. And sure enough, they still were, but that, of course, was very much on the decline. I think only a few places were still hanging people as a form of capital punishment. So, yes, I guess the channel's now going to change to Anthony's capital punishment talk. But moving on from that rather dark little detour we just did, is probably my favorite gag in this entire short, where Elmer is, okay, wanting to go upstairs. No, Home of Tomorrow, you do not need stairs. So we're going to bring the upstairs downstairs. But what happens to the downstairs? Good question. Let's find out.
My stairway's gone. What have you done with my stairs?
Stairs schmears. Come here. We don't walk upstairs in the push-button home. We bring the upstairs downstairs. Neat?
But what happens to the downstairs?
Say, that's a good question. What do you say we find out?
I cracked it. This gag is just so brilliant.
I want to know what that looks like from the outside of the house as well.
Yes.
And we never see that, really. That's brilliant.
It is. My goodness. I mean, I just cracked it. It's my favorite gag of this short. It's filled with great gags. But man, that just... As Manny Cruz, the two-piece tenor, would say, mwah, chef's kiss. That's
chef's, yes. Yeah.
I love Elmer's drawings right now. I don't know offhand who was doing it at this point. It's not Scribner, but great pose. I'm sure they were following whatever McKimson gave them closely.
Yeah. So... To get rid of the salesman, and I have to admit, I really wish I had this part, yeah? So Elmer calls someone, and we barely even hear what's actually being said on the phone, and Daffy's like, wait, what? And they get this delivery faster than Amazon, by the way, so maybe Amazon should watch this short and see how they can deliver, like, instantaneously to people, but anyway. So they get this salesman robot, again, shaped like everything else, and it's just got a boot. You know, I guess Simpsons reference right here, you know, a booting, like we do in Australia, because that's our form of capital punishment, I suppose. So it boots the salesman out, and boy, I wish I had that for all the door knockers I get. Just push the button and just kick him out of there. You know, we need...
Push button salesman eject.
But once Daffy's kicked out, we get back to what that red button is for. It's like, What is it? And now we see what it is, and yet he pushes the button anyway. He could clearly see title warning. He's like, oh, okay, better not touch the button. He does it anyway. The house lifts all the way up to the sky.
He's got nothing left to lose at this
I guess
point.
so.
Yeah.
But he's rich. He can always have the house rebuilt anyway, so it doesn't really matter, you know?
He already has to.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to pay to get down.
Yep. Exactly. With the Daffy, for additional cost, I can install this blue button to get you down. Bang. We finish right there. Excellent short.
For a cartoon that's pretty much just a catalog of appliance gags, it really sells itself very well. Like Daffy does.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
While we were watching it, I had it on silent, just scrolling through it. I'm like, yep. I'm really impressed by the animation on this one. This was right before the shutdown. And, these animators were really, really talented. It's a shame that they were not given higher budgets after that shutdown happened. This cartoon, if you're a Chuck Jones fan, for example, and he talks about the difference between animation and illustrated radio, this is animation. Like, you can watch this cartoon without any sound at all, and it's funny.
Yeah, the drawing, they're so great, especially Scribner scenes like, don't ever push the red one.
This is great animation, and it's not very complicated. It's very simple, but it's just the expressions are perfect. The poses are perfect. I agree with you, Anthony, a hidden gem. Like, if you sit down and really study it, this is a really good cartoon.
Exactly. And that's why I'm giving it a solid 9, because really is that good. I mean, I love it. I've said the word hidden gem plenty of times here. I'm going to say it again. It is a hidden gem. Definitely worth watching.
There's so many of them in the library.
Yeah.
Hidden in plain sight, really. Yeah.
I definitely do. But what are you guys going to rate this one?
I'd give it a 9.
I'm gonna give it a 9 as well. It's another great short. Like, even when they weren't making masterpiece after masterpiece, they were making really, really good cartoons still. Like, before and after this one.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not particularly original. It's not particularly groundbreaking. It's just funny and well done.
Yeah, exactly. That will do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And until next time, take care and don't push the red button.
That's all, folks.
Don't ever push the red one.
But if you guys subscribe and also subscribe to my Patreon, I'll even offer the blue button as well.
For a small price, I can install this little blue button to get you down.